Alright, so let me say this right off the bat. If you want Kylo Ren to be redeemed, I don't think you're a bad person. If you ship Reylo, I do not think you're a bad person. I want to make that clear right at the top here. Despite the clickbaity title, I'd love for this to just encourage people to give their own thoughts on the topic and have us all have a healthy discussion. With that said, let's get into it. With Rise of Skywalker coming out very soon, I had some feelings that I just needed to get off my chest before the movie comes out, so I put this video together really quickly. Kylo Ren doesn't deserve redemption. I'm starting with that thesis. If you disagree, that's cool, but I'd like you to just follow me down this road for a bit, and we'll see where it leads. First, to just contextualize everything, let's start with the big man himself, Darth Vader. At this moment, I'm not going to factor in the prequels into a story because when his story ended, that whole thing wasn't known by the audience or even George Lucas himself, so let's just consider what happened in the original trilogy. Darth Vader did some awful things. He stood by and watched Tarkin destroy planets without remorse. He killed rebels. He killed his own men on a whim. He ordered the torture of a woman who he later learned was his own daughter. He froze Han in carbonite, potentially killing him just to test out if he could use it as a trap for Luke. And then, something that hadn't happened to him in years happened in Return of the Jedi. Luke showed him compassion, affection, a belief that he could be better than who he was. And when the chips are down, this moved him. He changed. However, after everything he'd done, he couldn't go back to a normal life. He had to die a redemptive death in order to facilitate said redemption. That's the only way the story would have worked. Otherwise, people would have left the theater with a lot of questions. Now, let's look at Kylo Ren. He stands by and watches as numerous planets are destroyed. He slaughters resistance members. However, unlike Darth Vader, he doesn't kill his own men. Okay, well, except for him. Oh, and them. Yeah, but there was a reason for that, so doesn't count. In the even more terrible end of the spectrum, he slaughtered his fellow Jedi, people he had presumably trained with and grown to know as people. He kills an old family friend, he tortures Poe, he kills his own father, he tried to kill Luke, he tries to kill Rey, and some people just want him to walk away and live a happy life at the end of this story. Now again, I don't want to moralize and judge those people. The more interesting question here is, why do people want that? Well, it's because unlike the original trilogy, Kylo Ren is humanized. We see him regret killing Han. We see him refuse to kill his mother. We see him connect with Rey. We see him being emotionally and psychologically manipulated by Snoke. We see him call himself a monster.
You are a monster.
Yes, I am.
Unlike Vader, we get a peek into his head and into how he sees himself. We can see the lonely, tormented child inside of what is, on the surface, simply a cruel, evil man. And perhaps more important than any of that, we see his face. Something we can empathize with. Unlike Vader, it's easy to see him as a human being. That said, just because he's sad doesn't necessarily mean he deserves redemption, right? He's also emotionally abusive to Rey. He negs her, he tells her how worthless she is.
You have no place in this story. You're nothing.
But then he's like,
But not to me.
he also tries to isolate her, make it so that he's the only person she can rely on by, murdering everyone she cares about. Now don't get me wrong, Kylo Ren is a genuinely tragic figure. But as soon as he killed Snoke, he was free to make his own choices, and he chose to do those things. He refused his second chance at redemption and responded to rejection by attempting to murder Rey. So yeah, I don't think he deserves to be redeemed. However, does that preclude him from realizing the error of his ways? Honestly, I don't think so. And here's where I'm basically gonna dive into a bit of personal fan fiction, so buckle up for that. I don't think Kylo Ren deserves redemption, but I also think it's fine for him to seek it, as long as the story recognizes that he genuinely has to earn it. Killing a big bad guy at the end is not enough for that. And there's no version of the story where him joining the good guys at the end makes any sense. He's done too much to too many people. He would not be accepted in that way, especially when he actually becomes the head perpetrator of all these terrible things. So if he were finally to turn to the light side, what I propose is this. You can't find redemption by just sliding into a happy ending, and I also don't think a redemptive death is satisfying or a good message at the end, and that's already been done, so I really don't want to see that again. But I would be game for him to realize what he's done and decide to become Ben Solo again and choose to wander the galaxy alone in order to atone for everything he did, redeeming himself by devoting his life to helping people in his travels. I think that would not only make sense for the story, but it would also strike that delicate balance between encouraging people to change for the better, while also acknowledging that the people he's hurt shouldn't feel obligated to befriend and accept him. I personally believe both of those things are very important stories. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos like this, feel free to visit my Patreon. If you give me even just $1, you'll get early access to videos. And giving any amount really helps me out because YouTube's algorithm has stopped being kind to me lately, which, you know, that's just the nature of the algorithm. I'm not going to complain too much about it. That's just how things are. Anyway, yeah, short video, but hope you liked it. Bye.